Back to this story now as Congress signs off on President Obama's mission to train and arm the Syrian rebels, a key aspect of the White House strategy. But another aspect of the strategy, support for a growing coalition, including Arab states, something that our own Shepard Smith bet the White House would never happen.
We have a coalition of the Muslim world. I don't see it. No one from Saudi Arabia, no one from Jordan has its own problems. Turkey has its own problems. We are not getting help from any of those nations. And to suggest that these people, with great respect, from Syria, who are not organized, and the Pentagon says it'll take a year to train, and the Iraqi army, which has already folded and given away the weapons, are going to come together and fight ISIL for us and with us, seems like, as the president once put it, something of a fantasy.
Shep, these individuals will be fighting for their own country. Iraq right now faces an existential threat. The president is determined that it is not in the best interest of the United States national security for American forces to be on the ground engaged in combat operations against ISIL in Iraq and Syria.
So where are we? Retired four-star General Jack Keane is the chairman of the Institute for the Study of War and a Fox News military analyst. General, good morning to you.
Good morning.
You have made it very clear over the past 24, 48 hours that as you see things shaping up, you are very concerned that this cannot work.
Yeah, we got some real challenges here. Clearly, we're playing a very strong hand with the use of air power. The United States and some coalition powers participating in that. And the fact of the matter is we'll use precision-guided munitions. We got great pilots, great skill, and we'll have impact as long as the targets are available to us. The problem we have is our ground offensive campaign is a weak hand in Syria with the FSA, the Free Syrian Army. That's why they need to be armed, equipped, and trained, but more robustly than the president's plan. And we're obviously playing a weak hand in Iraq, as Shepard Smith identified with. And that's what the United States military wants to do. They want to strengthen that hand with air-ground controllers and advisors down at the lowest level, special ops taking down ISIS leadership, and a backup plan if that fails, with U.S. combat brigades and coalition brigades. So we've got to strengthen that weak hand on the ground, which is the essence of this problem.
So the president declares a goal, and that is to degrade and ultimately destroy ISIL. And the Pentagon gets together and says, okay, here's what we need to do that, Mr. President, and they hand him the plan. If you want to do that, if you want to accomplish that goal, we, your armed forces, say this is what we need. So they give this to the president, and the president says, no. Sorry, that's not going to work. I'm only giving you airstrikes and training of forces on the ground that may take, you know, at least 1 to 2, maybe 3 years to train.
Well, that's a pattern that we've had with this president since 2009. He's rejected every single force-level plan that's ever been presented to him about 5 times, and this is the last one, and he's rejected this one. He's never, ever accepted a single one. Every time he's limited our military options to be able to accomplish the mission. And in the other spot there, talking about the coalition partners, one of the elephants in the room, I don't want to make excuses, you know, for the Arab Muslim world not getting into this fight, because they should get into this fight. But one of the problems they do have, they all have radical Islamic movements inside their country trying to push them out of power. Maybe not on anything of the scale of ISIS, to be sure, but nonetheless a movement. So if they're going to commit to this, they know they're going to antagonize that movement and probably grow it. The fact of the matter is they want us to be serious about this. They're not certain to this day, Martha, despite the president's speech, despite all the follow-up comments by Secretary Kerry and Secretary Hagel, they're not convinced that the president is serious about actually seeing this through to the end. So what is one of the problems we have with them, and I think this will take the president's personal leadership, despite Secretary Kerry and General Allen and all the skills and reputation they have, the president's got to get in this game with our coalition partners if we're going to get them in this fight in any realistic way.
So the administration, as I understand it, and says, well, that's nice. That's what you think you need. We've looked at it as well. We don't think that's what you need. We believe that this can be done the way that we have planned it, with these airstrikes and with training these forces on the ground, not to mention the fact that they previously said that these forces on the ground were, you know, basically untrainable and it wouldn't work. It does lead to the inescapable conclusion that the will to win may not be there.
Well, I think that's true, and you know, we said that the night the president made his comments. One of the concerns we have always had is his decisiveness and his commitment to see the mission through to the end. And that means not just providing the leadership which we desperately need, but also it means giving the military and others the resources that they need to do the job. You've got to give them the resources. And in this case, he's not doing that.
Let's listen to the former CIA director, Woolsey, just moments ago with Bill.
This is a movement, a worldwide movement of extreme Islam, violent jihadis, and we have to focus on that and not just on the group of the moment.
He went on to say that we are basically in what he sees as a worldwide war, and that we need to accept that. Now, I understand that many of the countries that we would like to get on board have a lot of conflicted interests within them, and you know, it makes it very difficult for them to be very open about their backing of us. So is there any way around that for them?
Well, first of all, Director Woolsey knows exactly what he's talking about here, and you and I have had discussions on this as well. This is radical Islam. It is a worldwide movement focused primarily in the Middle East, and we have never had a comprehensive strategy to deal with it. President Bush didn't have one, and this president doesn't have one. He won't even define it as a radical Islamic movement. He walks away from religion being part of their core belief system. You know, we have a model for this and how to deal with that, and that is dealing with communist ideology. And the fact of the matter is we were successful because we formed political and military alliances for those countries that had vested interest in NATO and the Southeast Asia Treaty Organization. We can do the same thing here, but it takes leadership to do that. And put that political and military alliance together, share intelligence, share training, share technology, work towards common objectives. This can be done. If we don't do something like that, Martha, we're going to deal with ISIS. We'll eventually get the ground plan right. We'll eventually defeat them, but somebody else is going to pop up. So we have to have a much larger strategy to cope with this harsh reality that we have with radical Islam.
History in the making, and a lot at stake. Big decisions to be made and leadership needed, as you say. General Jack Keane, thank you very much, sir. Always good to see you.
Good talking to you, Martha, as always.